your Geordie journos. Quite nice, this, isn't it?
No.
The three were back together.
It's been a while.
You'd think I'd been away for like a year.
Have you not?
No, it feels like it though.
Well, no, you were at Spurs. I was going to say, was it 2024 your last appearance, but no.
No, it's not been that long.
It's good to have you back.
No, it is. It's just been a very busy time for Newcastle United and the Geordie journos, and the wins keep on coming and rolling in. It wasn't vintage today, was it, Dom? But,
No.
you know, I said this on the live. Newcastle United, in many ways, have flipped the boot onto the other foot. Over the years, everybody's been there. You've been to games where you're walking away and Newcastle have just been beaten 4-0, and you turn and go, you know, they didn't have to play very well today to do that. That's just what Newcastle United have done, and that's what good teams do.
Yeah, it's what they did a couple of years ago, where you're coming away from games and you go, that was 3-0 going on, maybe 2-2 draws, things like that. Wolves had chances, but Newcastle were dominant in terms of possession and took the chances when they came. I mean, slice of fortune, as Eddie Howe admitted, with Alexander Isak's opening goal, but it felt like once Newcastle took the lead, they were never really ever in doubt of losing the game today or dropping points even. Alexander Isak then makes it 2-0, Bruno, great pass, and then Isak, on his hat-trick, turns provider. Unselfish play from him. Anthony Gordon scores again. I think maybe gets overlooked because of Alexander Isak's great form, but Anthony Gordon now in great form. He's scored 5 goals in his last 6 games.
I think, let's be brutally honest. No. The pair of them two left that four.
Alexander Isak, look, you want to be stats, man. Alexander Isak,
stat man.
2 goals and an assist today. Was
Incredible.
it his best performance? No. Anthony Gordon gets a goal again today. Was it his best performance? In the first half, he stunk the place out.
I would say it was arguably his worst performance.
Second half, he got involved.
It was persistence paid off in many ways because he was
that's
persistent.
what it was.
Yeah.
But
in respect, there's a lot of respect for that.
But they sum up Newcastle's performance in general, where it wasn't vintage, as you say. It wasn't even great, but they've won 3-0 because they've took the chances that came their way. And I mean, when you've got momentum and when things are going your way, you sort of make your own luck in some ways. And Newcastle have done it again and come away without having to really break much of a sweat. I mean, Wolves had chances. Martin Dubravka made certainly one very good save.
Unbelievable save.
Yeah, to deny Strand Larson, was it, in the closing stages. Wolves had a goal, say harshly disallowed, but it was a handball.
Hit the hand.
Yeah.
Did it? It must have ruled out, obviously.
Yeah,
but there was people in the live, which I did earlier, were saying, "Oh, well, that was a harsh one."
I don't think the referee gave anything to Wolves today.
He didn't.
I think we saw in the first half Dan Burns
fouled him, didn't he?
But objectively looking at the game, great challenge because the referee went nope, and then obviously the goal Wolves had disallowed as well. There was another few instances. You said there was a challenge Newcastle got away with, and you said if that's the other way around, Newcastle get a free kick.
Newcastle get a free kick. Yeah, it was just one of those days where I thought the referee was very poor and very, very beneficial to Newcastle United, which, look,
swings and roundabouts.
Like I say, it's happened plenty the other way, so you just got to take them when they come. And that's not to take anything away. There is a lot of positives that can be taken from it. I thought of the midfielders, I thought Sandro Tonali was brilliant again today. I was really impressed by him. That burst in the last sort of the added time,
wasn't it?
Yeah, and then Bruno let him down with an awful shot. But it was incredible. Joe Linton had a day where he's just, I don't mind this. I've been saying for a while he's been outstanding, and he always has the odd off day. The only thing he's got to get out of his system now is an open goal miss. He's good at those. So he needs like a back post open goal miss to get out of his system.
He only had one of
it's good.
Villa, you got the last one.
Was it? It's good to get them out of his system when the team pulls it through for you and you win 3-0. So he had an off day today. I thought Tino Livramento was poor, had an off day. Lewis Hall wasn't at his best today. Flashes of bits of quality. Yeah. Bruno drifted in and out, flashes when he needed to, but probably wasn't as influential in a forward sense.
Martin Dubravka got an assist, a very good assist.
No. This isn't hiding the stats. Like I say, I'm going to go to the forward line. Possibly, in terms of all-round performance, Jacob Murphy might have been the one who put in the best performance out of the three, and he didn't even produce anything. Yeah. Anthony Gordon tried everything, and you can't fault his effort, took his goal really well, and that was a real reward for persistence, wasn't it? Alexander Isak, I think I don't know if you remember us saying that in the first half. I said it's going to take somebody blasting a ball off Isak to get a goal today. Just so happens he blasted one off a defender and totally wrong-footed everybody and scored. But it was just one of those games. It was a scrappy affair where Newcastle didn't perform and they've walked away 3 goals in the bank. Just adding to the goal difference, 3 more points into the top 4. You make a good point. You make your own luck. When you're playing well and the confidence is high, things like this go for you. It isn't coincidence. It actually matters. If you go in with the right mindset and you go in with the right level of confidence and ability, things like this do come off for you. And that's like I said, that's what good teams do. Newcastle United are a good team and they're looking like one, even when they're playing well and when they're not playing well, because you can produce a performance like they did at Arsenal, which I haven't probably on video had a chance to really speak about that, to be honest. But that to me, watching that was not the Newcastle United I know. That was like an alien performance. That was just a team brimming full of... They walked into that stadium and went, we win. And that's just not what I'm used to. Nor are you probably out there. Look, they can produce performances like that. So when you can do that, you can allow them an off day. And if their off days are as bad as a 3-0 win, I'll take them all day. Because this is a team on the rise, on the up. My only concern, and it is... it's not a minor concern, it's probably more than that, not to sound too negative, would be injuries, would be my only thing that I think derails this team in the manner in which they're going this season. And I'm not going to name names. I think everybody out there knows that there's probably only 2 or 3 players that Newcastle really cannot afford to lose out of the team for any length of time. One in particular that really can't be lost for any period of time at all. Because there's definitely one player who graces every football team on the planet, I would say.
Jacob Murphy. Sorry.
Dan Burn.
Dan Burn.
Hey, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, sorry. I just... it was silly fortune of a reminder when you were going on this fantastic speech. Yeah.
It is Dan Burn. I said I wasn't going to name names, I'm going to name names. Dan Burn.
Oh, I was going to say, do you want to actually get on to the person who you were talking about?
Yes, go on then.
Okay. Because Alexander Isak.
Yeah, it's a silly little bit of history, really. It's not like an amazing bit of history, but it is a record break.
16 goals in his last 16 games, 17 goals for the season. Considering, he had a poor start to the season by his standards, as that record would suggest, because he's just unstoppable at the moment, even when he's, like you say, not necessarily playing brilliantly today. Look, you go back to that Arsenal game, he was incredible against Arsenal. And tonight, he got 2 goals and an assist, involved in 3 goals, but probably half as good a performance almost.
Yeah. So the 2 centre-halves at Arsenal probably came off that pitch and thought, I've never been run around like anybody ran him round. Yeah. It was run around by Isak. Those 2 centre-halves probably came off the pitch the day going, how the hell has he scored 2 goals? It would help if they marked him, for the second one was ridiculous.
Most informed striker in Europe, and they've given him the
10 yards. It's in your own box.
Gallagher end box. Yeah.
No, he's incredible. He's an incredible player. You were saying about the statistics about how many goals he's got.
52 goals in. It's gone.
Maybe 89, 90 games. It's about that.
Yeah, about 90.
Yes.
Games, I think.
89 games, 52 goals.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Not all starts either.
Which is unbelievable.
I always think that's a false goal scorer, just that personally. You score a goal at any minute, but it always looks better when you put starts.
Will Asula won't like that.
No.
Because he's made quite a few great
substitutes. Will Asula, 1 goal in 2 starts. Great effort.
Yeah, he has. Well, that's the thing. Can Isak in this form and Gordon in this form, and whether they had off days or not, is a tough ask for any team to play against.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest problem Newcastle United is that you look at, for example, the benches of Liverpool, and you look about a team ready to win a title. You look at their bench and say, 1 week, I'm not saying they're top class in every position, they're not. But what they do have is, you look at their bench in the last game and you see Curtis Jones on there, quality, falling back on quality. It's not necessarily walk into Newcastle's midfield. I think he's an excellent player, but he does walk onto the bench. And then you look and say, oh, well, if Núñez doesn't play, they'll play Jota or Gakpo. And, they've got probably just that extra layer. They've got that extra 4 or 5 players at the top end for the Premier League that Newcastle really, when you look at the bench, don't have. And that's just where they are in this journey. They're not quite there. They're in a much better, stronger place than they were 2 years ago when they were in a similar place, ready to go for the top 4. They look like they've got a better team. You would argue, obviously, Lewis Hall is a better option at left back than Dan Burn. So that's in Tonali, with adding Tonali into that midfield instead of Longstaff at the moment looks a much better option by far. Technically, he's an incredible footballer who's added just so much to that midfield. So, and obviously Anthony Gordon is a different player now to what he was then. He was a bit part player in that back end of that season, just coming off the bench here and there, with Joe Linton and Joe Willock occupying the left-hand side for the most part.
Well, Isak even was a bit more bit part, and Callum Wilson was
the main striker for a lot of that part at that time as well. So no, it's brilliant to see. We've got a footballing goalkeeper now. Yes, he might not be the same sort of shot stopper. But
happy birthday.
Was it his birthday day?
36.
Is he?
10 games this season, 10 wins, 7 clean sheets.
Yeah.
Good record. 10 out of 10 performance as well for them.
Yeah, don't call him a veteran though. He's got a year on me. I'm in a really. I think Newcastle in a really positive place. It wasn't the vintage performance you expect from them in a home game like this, but it was never gonna be. I didn't walk up to the stadium today thinking it was gonna be a walk in the park. I walked up very rare. My dad's a season ticket holder in the Gallagher. I walked up with him today, and he says, "What do you think as we're going in?" And he said 2-0. I said 3-0. I got it right the day. I should have put a bet on. But even when I said 3-0, I didn't think it was going to be a walk in the park 3-0, and it wasn't. And that's, I think, the same on Saturday. I don't see that being an easy game at all. They've got injuries. I was looking at their injury list.
Two big injuries.
The two centre forwards, Evan Nielsen and Unal, has obviously left them short. They're having to play that. Was it Ouattara or Ouattara up front. And then you look at their bench. They've lost lots of players. A couple of their centre halves are injured. A couple of midfielders. They've really been hit hard, but they're a good side.
They have Newcastle's numbers.
Oh, they do. Eddie Howe can't beat. Doesn't matter who the manager is. He's excellent. Him, I really rate him. But Eddie Howe can't beat anybody. You could put anybody as manager at Bournemouth. He just can't do it, can he? So I think that's going to be really tough. I don't like the morning kickoffs. Afternoon, whatever you want to call it.
It feels like more.
I hate the half 12ers.
You have to get up early.
I really hate them. And I think a lot of people come in here don't like them either. I think if you ask anybody...
Cuts your drinking time short, doesn't it?
It does, but it's just you're not... The whole city isn't awake to it yet.
No.
It takes time to awaken, doesn't it? and that's not what you want. And that's not a criticism, it never is. But as a fan, I was a fan for a long time. I never liked the half 12.
I'm with you on that.
I don't mind working them to be.
Do you know? Do you like them?
Get freedom. You're done. You've got your feet up by within a decent hour. We're not sitting in a little room at St James's Park at 12 o'clock at night, as we are right now. So I don't mind.
I bet we're still at St James's Park at 9 o'clock on Saturday after our half 12 kickoff. Doing a video.
I hope not.
For you guys out there.
It probably, you know.
Something must have gone.
We've done worse. We've definitely done worse. Right, good juncture. I'll probably have a little word from the sponsors.
Mitigate enhances workplace mental health, helping businesses stay compliant, reduce absences and unlock higher productivity, creating healthier, happier teams.
There's 4Rivers Financial Planning too.
4Rivers Financial Planning offers holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world that we live in.
That's the Geordie Journo's sponsors, proud sponsors, and I don't even know if I've spoken to you guys yet, but we've got another one. There's another one on board, but we'll wait for the big reveal.
Okay.
I've promised it will be Saturday, so we'll do the big reveal for the Bournemouth game on Saturday with another sponsor of the channel. We're gonna need another board. It isn't Adidas, but it's a very good company all the same.
Okay.
Very, very good. We'll not reveal too much.
January deal.
It is.
Which segues
Geordie Journo's PSR boost.
Which takes us nicely into what Eddie Howe was asked about and said absolutely nothing about in his post-match press conference. Obviously, big stories emerging this week about the future of Miguel Almiron, which has been ongoing for the best part of 12 months. And also Lloyd Kelly, who was a free transfer in the summer on significant wages, we're led to believe, although the exact amount has been disputed. Linked with Fenerbahce in Turkey, Miguel Almiron linked with a return to Atlanta United, who Newcastle signed him from. So what we're thinking, and obviously Jordan, we were in the press conference with Eddie Howe, and he said...
Doesn't know anything, does he?
Nothing.
Preparing for the game. Nothing's came in his direction yet.
Yeah, on his radar. Nothing's on his radar.
Yeah, basically, yeah, said nothing, which... I mean, you've got two deals here. I think Almiron's probably the most likely to happen. We've been saying for a while. I think we even said after Sunday's video, Dom, that it felt like the end of the road for Miguel Almiron.
Yeah.
And even though Harvey Barnes is out for a month, and you would probably still want Almiron around just for a body, I still think it still feels like the end of the road. So if there's a deal there to be had with Atlanta, then I just think it's, thanks Miggy for your service and off you go. Because PSR we mentioned it previously, PSR, it forces you to do sales that you don't really want to do, or ideally wouldn't want to do, but Newcastle haven't cashed in at the right time with other players. Now is probably the right time to cash in on Miguel Almiron.
Yeah, Newcastle have notoriously, well, for the most part, bought very well under Eddie Howe, but selling has been a real sticking point, and we were speaking off camera, almost there's been transfer decisions that have been made and almost stockpiling players who aren't necessarily improving the starting 11, and it's maybe come back to haunt Newcastle. Now, if there's an opportunity on the table to sell Miguel Almiron for any significant amount of money, I mean, the fees reported have been in excess of £10 million, which is, I mean, you're almost making your money back.
It's remarkable business that they can get that for Miguel Almiron. I see this, and it's like a flip of the coin situation, and ultimately I don't think there's a black or white answer to this. It is always going to be grey.
Yeah.
I can see it from Eddie Howe's perspective. So Eddie Howe, to me, would probably have PTSD from the injury troubles that Newcastle United had last season. And the last thing that he, as a manager of a football team, is going to want to do is weaken his potential options should another injury or two hit, when all is still at play in the Premier League, in the FA Cup, and in the League Cup. I don't think you're going to see, you want him to, or he's going to express a delight at losing a Lloyd Kelly or losing a Miguel Almiron as much as we would potentially disagree with him in a football sense. I think we're probably all in agreement on that. But also, the football club has got to lose this tag of being a football club that almost is the only one in the Premier League unable to sell at the right time. They have not sold well as a football club, and it doesn't reflect well on them in that respect. I've been critical in the past of the decision of, say, for example, Kieran Trippier, who you guys know I love as a footballer and a character and stuff around this football club, and Callum Wilson as well. And people say, oh, hindsight's a wonderful thing. You wouldn't have sold Wilson when you did. Well, possibly not, no, but I wasn't the person looking at the bank details. I was not given the spreadsheets on how close Newcastle United were going to be at breaking PSR. If you'd been given that, you would have went, Bayern Munich have offered how much for Kieran Trippier? All right, that fixes a big hole. Sorry, mate, he's got to go. We've already just signed your replacement for 30 million quid.
Then you probably don't have to sell Elliot Anderson.
Well, probably not, no. Maybe not Anderson, but
well,
you could probably get
15 million for Anderson if you look at what they paid for Black and Demos.
I know it's
it's probably not that basic, but yeah, you'd start to say you get rid of him and somebody else. You might not have even had to get rid of Elliot Anderson, and it's a totally different conversation. So you get rid of that. That's the kind of place I see them at now. Is we've already had conversations about 3 Newcastle players. Lloyd Kelly, Martin Dubravka, and Miguel Almiron. I don't know what happened there. Total mind blank. You start to look, in my opinion, if you get rid of some of these players, I'm not saying it's going to necessarily be able to strengthen. You might get rid of Miguel Almiron, and I don't know what the PSR calculations are. I'm not an expert in that. I'm not an accountant. I'm not any of these things. But if you get rid of Miguel Almiron, and then you get rid of Kelly, and you get rid of somebody else, it probably means you're not in the kind of situations. I think it was Craig Hope who asked the questions on the last press conference day with regards Lewis Miley, then you don't find yourself in a situation where Miley becomes the only option to make up the sizable gap that you've got in your PSR calculations. That only becomes a problem if you don't sell others. You've got to allow players to go when it's financially correct for the club, not just for the team. And that's where these decisions sometimes have got to be taken out of Eddie Howe's hands. It has to be done. We all want the team to do well. We don't want the team weakened. Nobody does. But realistically, if the club is going to move forward and take strides like it needs to, there comes a time where you have to say, do we roll the dice in that respect? Do you get rid of Miguel Almiron and don't replace him? Do you roll the dice in that, and then it's suddenly the room that you thought you were going to have, you've got a lot more room. And you might be the vulture.
Yeah.
You might be the hunter, not the hunted, when June the 30th comes round and Nottingham Forest, having just qualified for the Champions League, are doing an Aston Villa and panicking about players they might have to get rid of. Then you become the vulture. You're the one taking players off them, not them taking them off you.
Yeah. You'll get your dream signing.
Elliot Anderson.
Buyback. No.
Morgan Gibbs-White. I've always said about Morgan Gibbs-White, I think he's a fantastic footballer who improves virtually every team in the Premier League because of the technical ability he's got. Look, he's not always at it, but I do think with a coach in the right manner, I think somebody could get a real star player there. And we're seeing that at the moment at Nottingham Forest. So no, I think for me that there's a right time and there's a sweet spot, and I thought the sweet spot had gone with Miguel Almiron, to be honest. But if you're seeing the kind of figures that are being reported, and I don't know if they're true, but if those figures are being reported, I think that sweet spot's jumped back up again, and you've just got to hit it. There's no two ways about it. I think it weakens the squad. There is no doubt about that, because there isn't an obvious person to come in and step in and take his place from the academy or from wherever. There isn't anybody ready.
Not ready, no.
I think we've seen that on Sunday. I see these people who talk about academy kids as if they're ready to do this, that and the other. They're not. Trevor Sanusi is nowhere near ready to play for Newcastle United's first team. I think that was obvious on Sunday. And
I think giving him little games there and then,
it's good for his experience. But what you had to rely upon him in games like today, where he threw Miguel Almiron on, that's just
it's a
not,
tough.
Where you're having a hold on.
It's too much for a young kid.
For a 7-year-old,
Too much for a young kid. He wouldn't be able to do it. He might be able to do it, but it's a lot to ask. It is at that stage in his career.
Yeah. What I would say is, how many points is Miguel Almiron worth between now and the end of the season? I would argue
you're pretty much just holding on a case that there might be an injury.
Might be an injury.
But then, based on Almiron's performances, he hasn't really brought much to the team this season anyway. Guy looks like a lad that, again, I think he feels like he's at the end of the road as well.
I think it's time to roll the dice.
I think you've got to in these situations. I think as long as it's not a first team starter like a Martin de Bradford, for example, because that's why it became a situation where they couldn't get rid of him, because he's currently the number one goalkeeper. And when Nick Pope returns, should have no guarantees of a comeback into the team. So it's very, very different with him. But Almiron
didn't make financial sense.
No.
Had Nick Pope not got injured, though, I think he's already in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
If Nick Pope had stayed fit, he's already gone.
Yeah.
I don't think he's kept.
100%. Yeah.
Because they probably would have went, right, well, we'll muddle through at the end of the season with the rest of the keepers that we've got.
And that shows how significant a part injuries play in transfer strategy. And that's probably the one thing, like you say, in the back of Eddie Howe's mind. We've lost Harvey Barnes for a month due to injury. There's no guarantee he'll be back in a month as well. He said, don't hold me to that. And then you're an Anthony Gordon or a Jacob Murphy injury away from having to almost mess your team up.
Yeah, you have to change everything.
That's why you see from the manager's side, but I think from a financial point of view, when Newcastle have, let's be honest, been bad sellers,
they have.
There needs to be a way when I'm just being looked at through the window. Anything puts me off.
I think it's the amount of videos and output that we actually do. You'll do your Gazette videos, we'll do Newcastle World videos, I'll do the live, and we're still talking. And what time is it?
Quarter to 12.
Quarter to 12, and they're still. I think they're in awe of how we just chat so much about a game that we've just seen. I think that's probably a good time to wrap it up, really, isn't it?
Yeah. We didn't touch on Lloyd Kelly.
Go on, then you touch on him.
Well, Lloyd Kelly's another one. I think now Sven Botman's back is one who potentially goes down that pecking order again. You've got Matt Target, okay, he wasn't in the squad today. Fabian Shearer is going to come back from his illness. He wasn't in the squad today. Lloyd Kelly, when is he going to get games? When is he going to get starts? It sounds like, this based on report, that the money offered from Fenerbahce was nowhere near what Newcastle would value him at. But if you can get a player who you got for nothing and make, well, an infinite profit on him and get some sort of, I'm saying, upwards of 10 million, you're talking about sweet spots. I think Lloyd Kelly now is probably at his peak for how valuable he's going to be, unless he somehow gets a great run of games and run of form for Newcastle United.
I mean, look, I don't know the figures, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but to me it looks like a no-brainer.
You sell him?
Yes, I don't think, obviously I don't see him every day in training. Eddie Howe knows him probably more than anybody, and he knows how good he can possibly be. We haven't seen that for Newcastle United. I think the lad looks weak in the air. I think he looks weak in his marking, his duels. I think then that's a big problem for me for a centre-half. If you can't do the very basics right, you're not much of a centre-half to me. That doesn't mean the lad can't improve. He might be somebody who needs a run.
Yeah.
Look, how quick have we been to judge anybody? The quality that we've got in our team, everybody's the same. Lewis Hall had a bad run. Sandro Tonali had an iffy run. Alexander Isak's had plenty of iffy runs. Bruno Guimaraes was getting booted out the door by some people not all that long ago. It doesn't mean they're bad footballers. So Lloyd Kelly, if he gets 10 games, we might be saying it might be a totally different conversation. It might be like, bloody hell, this lad's actually worth 40 million, never mind 11. You just don't know.
Well, that's a problem. I don't see him getting 10 games.
I don't see him getting 10 games unless there's injuries.
Yeah. But that's the thing, you've got an important run coming up. There's potential Carabao Cup final. If Newcastle were to get through, it's sort of like...
But let's talk it through. What about your defence? I think that's probably defence.
Jamal Lascelles isn't going to be back till maybe March.
Is he not?
That's what Eddie Howe was saying, a couple of months away still.
Right,
so
okay.
There's an extended spell. Fabian Shearer...
Kraft covers you across all the way, probably across the back four if you need it. If you got rid of Kelly, you'd just keep Target, wouldn't you, and say, we'll just keep him at the end of the season. He's your left back cover. If you need him, he'll do a job for you if you have to, you know, for a game
Trippier
or two.
and Tino Livramento can also play.
Yeah, and Tino can play
right
both
back,
sides. Yeah, and centre half possibly a problem, but you've got three who are performing reasonably well this season. You've got three there with the idea that Kraft can play in there, and Jamal Lascelles will be back at some point. Again, it's a roll of dice situation, isn't it? It's like, do you roll the dice? That actually, to me, sounds like a safer option than a Miggy Almiron exit in many ways, that you have so many bodies in there. You could make 3 back fours out of the amount of bodies Newcastle United have defensively. You couldn't do that with the wide players in the formation Newcastle play. You've probably, your next best bet, looking down the list, is you bring Joe Willock in, because Joe Linton will play out there. That's probably your next option as a wide player. Yeah. And then it messes up that dynamic that they've built in the 3 in the middle. So I think if we're talking about rolling the dice, the Lloyd Kelly one sounds the least risky. But if Eddie Howe wants to keep him, there's a reason why he wants to keep him, and he must have seen things that we are yet to see since Lloyd Kelly signed for Newcastle United. And to be fair to the lad, he hasn't had much of an opportunity. But when he has been given opportunities, I don't really think he's shown himself in the best of lights.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Right, I've waffled enough. You've waffled enough, and you have too.
Oh, have we?
I think we should.
I've enjoyed having a little video.
Oh, it's good to have you back, Liam. It's nice.
That's nice to hear. I don't know if that sounds genuine or not.
No, it is.
You did well without us.
Oh, thank you.
You did.
Okay.
I was surprised. Right, on that note, these guys will be back for a video on, what day is it today?
It's Wednesday.
Friday. You'll be back on Friday with a press conference video from Benton. I'm loving the little setup that you've got. The little sitting at Eddie's desk. Who do you think is on? I like it. It looks really good. Keep it up.
It's only if the room's empty and if it's windy outside, though. That's
right.
What we're trying to do anyway.
It's better than going in the change room.
It's always windy there.
It is, yeah.
It's probably the windiest place ever. North Tyneside is generally windy, but that is incredible. Right. Good night. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You know, all the usual business. And obviously you can comment, get involved in the conversation. We'll chat to you all night if we get the chance to. And do check out the live. That was, of course, a snap reaction with lots of comment and chat. There's also a super thanks if you want to jump in and donate to the channel. We have a shop that you can also buy if you want a mug or a t-shirt or what else is that? Hoodies.
I've got one. I just haven't worn it.
Coaster.
Is that coaster?
Yeah. I've got, well, my mum's got one on that. Geordie
Wonderful.
Journals coaster.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible.
Right, you can
Anything
get
you
anything on. And you know, if you've got any suggestions, you can do that as well. You could even get one from. You could even get a lovely CFAX Newcastle United 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
You could, yeah, you
You
could.
could get that done up. I'm sure you could do that for people.
Oh, absolutely.
Tom's the man. Right, good night from the Geordie Journal. It's been another late one, but it was 3 more points on the board and on the odds and up pass for Eddie Howe's Max.